it's me, Jay, your GM. I use he, him, and this. Nope.
And there's your egg for the end
Of the world.
It's like falling off a bicycle every time.
Hello, it's me, Jay, your GM. I use he, him.
I'm Jerika. I use she, her.
I'm Air. I use he, him.
I'm Maz. I use they, them because I'm a contrary bastard.
I'm Ember's Side. I use he, him.
I'm mad I use he, him because I'm a follower.
He hides.
And this is Inside Check, where we delve into the dungeon of your bad decisions and retrieve the treasure of wisdom.
And we have been down there for a while.
No, it's weekly. We've been here every week, as everybody knows, just like last week.
We've been in that dungeon for a bit.
What do you mean that no episodes have come out? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
What, you haven't been listening to the last 82 episodes?
I have something terrible to tell you all. I haven't been actually releasing.
Jay!
I know. We've been recording every
Joshua.
week. I've been getting the files. I told everybody it was fine.
Hours of my life down the proverbial drain.
No, I just started playing a lot more D&D instead, and it's been fine. Hey, everybody, we're back. It's all thanks to Maz.
No, it's
Let's have a round of applause. For Maz. Yay!
Just raise my-
Maz recommended that we get together for a 12 Years of Christmas, our annual tradition on this podcast. Come back together one more time, sit down, and talk about what we're grateful for from the last year.
I mean, there's not a lot, but
You know?
We figured put 6 heads together, we could find something redeemable.
Yeah, if
we do this?
we bring 6 checkers together, surely we can find 12 things to be grateful
Wherever 6 checkers are brought together, there shall be...
But let us
12 things
remember
to be
our
grateful.
fallen allies. Haley and Leap.
Haley and Leap.
they're not
Rest in
dead.
peace.
they're
They're
not
not dead.
They're
Oh, okay.
somewhere.
Indisposed.
But we love them.
Yeah, miss them.
We do.
Yeah. We're here. We're here again. Gosh, it feels great. You know, the nostalgia's washing over me. The feelings are good. It feels like Christmas.
It's just cat poop.
It's just because I haven't talked to anybody in like months.
Yeah, that could be it for sure. We also all have video on for the first time ever, and that's giving this a totally different energy that I'm really liking.
I keep moving like slightly more and more out of frame.
Out of frame.
Like, I feel like I'm being perceived too much.
Weirdly, it's only making you hotter. You know, the more you slide off, it's just like getting
Oh,
more.
this is the secret to Matt to Matt and Jay peace in our time. Is for Jay to be reminded what a handsome boy Matthew is.
Well, let me tell you, I'm vibing. I'm thriving off the energy. I'm ready. I'm gonna go do mine. Y'all can come in afterwards, and maybe you'll feed off some of this latent power I'm giving out.
The raw
I
power of
just wanted to John just walked
JCAs.
past the door when I said that and started laughing.
Now, what I really like, Maz, is that you seem to be in some sort of futuristic genetic facility.
It's Cloud City, bud.
I'm on Cloud City.
Love that genome swirling in the background. It's really giving it a very strong sci-fi vibe.
This is Aaron's apartment from our Star Wars campaign.
Sick.
Do you want to talk more about that, Mass? You want to talk about...
I thought Jay was going first.
No.
I'm going first. I'm cutting in. 2 things that I am most grateful for this year. OFG, our fantasy game. The fantasy game we've been working on for the past 2 years-ish, maybe more. Since the start of COVID, I guess, around the start of COVID. So, yeah, we've been working on it still. We have, miraculously, my tendency with projects is to get invested for a little while, burn the candle at both ends, then just ditch it. Somehow for this one, I keep coming back to it every so often, and
Well, the candle wax eventually solidifies and hardens again, and then you can melt yourself all over
Burn
again.
it more.
I think part of why I keep coming back to it is because there are so many other people who check in and poke in on it and work on it and help me test it and help me run it, and that keeps me motivated, keeps me excited.
Well, yeah, I just got to build a character in this game for the first time. It was super fun.
Functional.
The faintest praise.
I sat down. I was like, I'm going to build a character in my friend's game. I really don't want to be horribly confused and pepper everybody with questions. I don't want to grind, myself into a fine paste doing it. It was like in 5 minutes, I had the gist of a character. In 15 minutes, I had the finer subtleties of the character. And even though I had very little grasp on the mechanics as I started, by the time we finished our first battle sequence, it was actually nicely intuitive. I was super impressed because this is not like a game where you pick it up and it's heavily narrative driven, heavily thematic storytelling as the driver of the game. There's a lot of gears in the engine, a lot of moving parts, especially for combat. They worked really well.
That was the thing I brought to the table. I was like, I want a tactical strategy RPG that feels good, like has a lot of interesting mechanics. And then what other people brought to it was a sort of bonsai type arrangement where they just snip things off. They're just like, hey, this whole system, gut it. It's not needed. They can help me see through the trees to see the forest, and they have helped me like find all these little excesses I let slip in and then cut them out, and it's been great. I've
Marie Kondoing your game universe.
Yeah, exactly. Does it spark joy?
Yeah, Jay came in like, I want to make a tactical RPG with good tactical combat, and I was like, okay. But how about all this narrative game bullshit that I like?
I'm a big feat fan. And I've suggested some feats, and I'm just waiting for the day when they're all pruned.
I go out and find lots of data and bring it back, and then Jay's like, nope, and tosses all of it out.
No, that's not what I do. Not true. It's not true.
It's just it's one of those things where the suggestion bin is also a furnace.
Yeah. Suggestion bin is also a mimic, and it's very, very portly mimic.
But you know what? It's not all OFG this year. Oh, it's also a year of endings. For me, personally, a lot of things, like a lot of my games that have been running for several years have started to wrap up. I came into this year with 5 D&D games, which is a reasonable and normal number of games to run.
Totally healthy.
I disagree.
And now 4 of them in the span of like a month and a half are wrapping up. Like, one ended at the end of October. One is wrapping up as we speak, like has 1 session left.
He's literally DMing as he's recording this right now.
Yeah, exactly. I got a second window open. Every time I'm not talking, I'm running that.
I use my bonus action to cast second window.
Now, Jay, endings as a yay seems counterintuitive. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you would call them a yay?
I think that in life in general, and in D&D and tabletop RPGs especially, endings are extremely uncommon, like real clear defined breaking points for things where it's just like, this was a beautiful thing that completed, we got everything, all the nutrients have been extracted, and now it's over. And I think that when a campaign especially reaches that point, it is such a fucking unicorn. Like, it is so special and rare. And to have multiple games reach that point in the same year is like, wow, this is the best D&D of my life. This is the best games I've ever played.
Well, when you take the shotgun approach that you have, if you run enough D&D, eventually some of it will be good.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
law of
that's
averages.
not even a joke. That is the actual strategy. Start a game. If it's not going well, end the game. Start a new one. If it starts going well, keep it going. Kill games that aren't working. Keep the good ones going. And eventually you get a good roster going that's really fun to play. And not just my game, but like Critical Role Campaign 2 ended this year. That was a beautiful campaign. The ending was really satisfying. There was lots of great send-offs and emotional moments. Adventure Zone ended another campaign this year. They started a new one already. It's just like, it's good when things have the time to resolve. It's good when you can put something to rest with like a completion. Not as something that just like fell apart or died on the vine, but something you can just say, you know what? That was great. Let's do the next thing.
Well, it can feel special too because you're telling a story you don't know the ending of with friends who are doing it with you without a roadmap. And if you get to a part where collectively you feel that you've reached a natural ending, it's a big collaborative experience. Like the culmination of that is hard to come by in other ways.
Yeah, Thursday game was definitely that. Like, even at the final session, there was so much that the players brought that surprised me. Like, I thought I knew how games ended. I thought I knew, like, okay, they all get to go and have happily ever afters now. And there was so much not that. There was so much, like, emotional, like, there were things that they brought that were so surprisingly vulnerable, that it was like, wow, all right, even endings can be shocking. Even endings can be surprising.
Listen, we did a lot of goofs and dick jokes and saved all of our emotional hits until the very last session.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that a good thing about endings that you did not mention is it makes way for beginnings.
Hey, you're darn tootin'.
We didn't know before the year 2021 that there was such a thing as the hat trick of D&D, that someone could aspire so high up the pinnacle of the ladder of the stairs of D&D to arrive at the top, where she
D&D Treehouse is a fucking issue.
where she has at this moment DM'd for Taz and Crit Roll, and also her own show on D&D Beyond, I believe, and also
Dimension 20 as well.
Dimension 20.
Who could you be talking of?
The queen of Let's Go, Abria Iyengar.
The one and only.
And no one can say she did not win 2021. And I will fight you if you disagree with me. So I'm thankful for Abria, but I'm also thankful for like collaborative storytelling. I love it. I love doing it, but I also love consuming it. And so a lot of my 2021, a surprising amount of my 2021 was spent doing jigsaw puzzles and listening to Taz Amnesty. I highly recommend it. It's a good ass time. So that's me. I'm also very thankful for my friends. And not all of them are queer or gay, but a lot of them are. We adopt the ones who aren't. That's what we do. So I'm also thankful for gay ass queers. You know who you are.
The greatest.
Speaking of Taz and puzzles, when I was at PAX Unplugged, I picked up the Taz board game as well as two Taz puzzles. One is the Fantasy Costco, and I can't remember what the other one is.
Nice.
Tell us more about PAX Unplugged.
Hey, that was this past weekend, if you're listening.
It was.
In kind of chronological order. Keynote speaker, by the way, Abria Iyengar. So, what an
Like what?
What a year.
She did not bomb either the C Team or the AI game, which...
She did hint, though. She did hint on Twitter that she would consider it for the future.
Listen.
If it's worth her time.
Major missed opportunity for PAX in its entirety.
Get it.
It was mostly about like stepping into these other worlds and like how to be like having to be like a reasonable a good steward for these new places, or not these already like pre-established worlds, and not fucking that up, but also doing everything, because apparently she got the offer for Dimension 20 and Crit Roll at the same time.
Oh, God.
But like they did not know that they had both asked her. So she talks about like how like she had to basically just like play them off each other until like she could secure having both kings. And just a lot of respect for that. And then I don't think she had a whole lot else to do for the concert. She was just kind of like everywhere. So just photobombing everyone. She's really nice. and I got to meet her.
I gotta say, watching you enjoy PAX was a real treat. So I
would say even a yay.
You know what? As a matter of fact, I didn't directly state it, but yes, PAX Unplugged is in fact my yay. It was my Christmas/anniversary gift from my partner, who I now live with, and we incidentally met at PAX 2018. So it's sort of a big yay all around.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
You right there?
Embers.
I wasn't even
okay.
paying attention. I didn't even know I made a noise. I'm sorry.
No, you were just very quietly listening and went, "Oh yeah," like if the Kool-Aid Man was hot. And it was beautiful, but I just wanted to make sure that you were okay.
God, I just want to drink me so bad.
But to steer it slightly back on point, PAX Unplugged.
Please.
It was my first con, my first real big social outing in 2 years. And I'm very, very tired from it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to see a bunch of people. I laughed, I cried. I spent a lot of money on the games, and it was good. I needed it. I know a lot of people couldn't make it or didn't think it was safe enough for them yet, and I perfectly respect that position.
Unplugged is really close for you. It's
Unplugged's not like a big schlep for me. It's but it's
Did you get a chance to play any games?
I did not, because basically, anytime I would sit down to start to try and play a game and suss out the rules to a new game, somebody I knew would show up, and then we would just end up talking instead. So I had a lot of intentions to play games, but I did not ever get around to actually playing. The
trick is, I wasn't there to force people to play games, and so they didn't end up getting to sit down and do it. Because when I go to PAXs, I'm just like, everybody, to a table, now! I got a board game, let's go!
Can confirm.
My other yay, which is, I guess, also an ending and was also at PAX Unplugged, but did not feature Abrea, was the ending of the C Team.
The very show that started this pod.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
The
humble beginnings.
I will tell you, if you haven't watched this last episode, it is the saddest. Everybody cried. The audience cried.
Shit.
Everybody. For me, it was a summation of. It was the realization of how many things have kind of just ended or ceased over the past couple of years, and it was really, really rough. No spoilers, but Embers do reach out, and we will hug over the wires.
Do this together
because you will need that hug. It was a tearjerker.
But in a cathartic way, right? In a way that felt...
it was very cathartic, but also I was just sad. But it was a good ending. They can definitely still come back for various cons and PAXs and Unplugged, maybe, but I doubt it. And obviously those characters will probably show up in the main stage games. But as far as that show goes, I think they are done. And
at the end of the day, just the overwhelming nature of the story that they've told, much like the stories that others tell at this level of, intense and devoted role play, seeing them come to an end just in and of itself is, for me, extremely emotional, even without tear-jerkery hooks, to which I'm completely susceptible, but even without that.
So it sounds like maybe this event was geared just to pull on the heartstrings of Embers specifically.
I'm going to have to watch it. I'm going to have to listen to it in the shower. So when
Embers, it definitely cast a very wide net and hit all of us in whatever.
The blast radius was wide.
Friendly fire.
What's her name? That bronze girl. Jasmine. It was her first game. Jerry got her. She was crying by the end of it. It was something else. I've never seen any actual play hit that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I watch Jasmine's streams somewhat regularly while I'm working, and I caught up with one of hers recently where she was talking about how she played her character in this game, and she really liked it because, I guess, spoiler alert, she plays a character who's inheriting a business from her father, and she was kind of like, there's a trope here where my character would react with, oh, I don't want to do it, a family business, how boring. Apparently, she was very excited to play as, no, I'm going to make this business like explode with commercial success. We're going to be a massive growth engine. It's going to be a huge financial windfall. And that's going to be me. I'm going to do that. I'm really excited to see that character.
Those are some darn good yays, folks.
Well,
Quality yays.
Speaking of D&D campaigns ending in, happy tears, the natural segue into one of my yays, which is the end of another thing that was birthed from this group, which was the Small Folk campaign, which was originally the brainchild of Jay and of Lipicheski. Planted those seeds and let them grow into an entire valley, which is currently being fleshed out by another group of folks, listeners of the podcast, mutual friends and whatnot, who, one of whom, Drunk Phytologist, ran I think about a 2-year long spanning campaign of small little critters adventuring in Barovia, or Batrovia, as it is called. And, just a lot of feels that wrapped up, Matt, when did that wrap up?
Just around Halloween?
It's October? Yeah, that sounds right.
So the premise of Small Folk is you play small animals, actual animal-sized animals.
Wee critters. Yeah.
Wee critters that have been touched by magic to become sentient and sapient and go off on great big magical adventures, and just the family that was built up, like things like, Matt is my reticent adoptive son in that game.
I don't believe that's accurate.
He's still doing it even now. One of our longtime listeners, Scout, we became D&D married in that campaign. We got to play together and became my dear mouse wife. Hi, Scout. One person I know is listening.
Yeah.
Just and it culminated in a big, return from Batrovia, many feels, rebirths of gods and all kinds of good, high fantasy stuff, and just really solid, familial, happy tears were shed that last game.
Endings are good.
Endings are good. You plant those seeds and you hope they grow into an ending tree, and sometimes they do. Speaking of, I have no fucking segue into this one because nothing we've said thus far prepares you for what is the character of Campaign 3 of Critical Role, played by Mercer Ray.
Well, you see, as many endings as there are new beginnings, and what's a new beginning? But Campaign 3 is.
Critical Role, hey thanks, Matt.
It's not that hard.
A minute ago,
Let's just workshop it live. It's fun.
Yeah. The most popular D&D podcast in the world, and for good reason.
Sure.
Been really happy to see Marisha be the breakout character this time around, because she's played the really happy character, the really edgy character, and now she's swinging for the fences, playing the wacky, creepy, but actually sweet character, and it's just a treat. And I love it so much.
It's such an interesting mix of positive and morose.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Playing a Tim Burton animation character, yeah.
It reminded me of the best of Terry Pratchett's death.
Yeah.
I spaced out a minute. What?
So anyway, moving right along, not explaining that for Matthew.
Ludov to me feels like a combination of a villain from The Great Mouse Detective and Morticia Adams.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
Radigan?
Yes.
Radigan.
That is definitely the Venn.
He's the tops, and that's that.
Yeah, if you're not listening to, watching, etc., Campaign 3 of Critical Role,
You never heard a little
little show.
by a guy named
You
Matthew.
know,
Critical
hopefully
Play.
this shout out will
Yeah.
Hopefully the
get him a
shadow
little bit of
over the
reach.
top.
Yeah.
Maybe get him a listener or two.
We'll give him a retweet for whatever their latest episode is when this magnum opus goes up, and maybe it'll give those kids a little bit of a push.
You just want to see him succeed for once.
You know what, Matt? Matt, my advice: stay humble.
Third time at bat. I think you got something special this time.
Yeah.
Maybe this time.
Maybe it'll stick.
Who knows?
I have no time for D&D anymore because all of my time is in the stab waps.
I love them all.
I'm
happened to
still
what?
playing. And we had an ending and a beginning in our Star Wars game.
What? It keep happening.
Yeah, we finished our first story arc.
Everything is fine. I know God.
Every cat dies.
Stay tuned for our new podcast. Every cat dies.
Maybe.
Yeah, we finished our first big adventure arc and moved into a new one. And it's still the same shenanigans as before. They once again ended up in a casino causing mayhem. I feel a theme. But yeah, no, because I've got my family game as well as the game with some ICP people. That's going really nicely because my nephew has moved into, he's made everyone make new characters, and he's talking about having more freeform campaign where the story is driven more by them rather than by a pre-written adventure. Like, any decisions, he's like, well, if we meet, we could maybe roll dice to see who comes into the cantina first and things like that. And it's just really great to see him taking this and getting involved with it. He's got very particular interests, so that's why we now have a Twilight singer called Hatsune Miku.
What Hatsune Leku was right there.
I know, but yeah, that's one of my yays, is the continued presence of my various Star Wars games.
I'm very happy that I get to play this voice, which is an Ewok who is also a Jedi.
What?
She is
Does your
a delight
lightsaber have
to
a
play.
name?
Does your lightsaber
It's
have a name?
OSCAR though.
Does your lightsaber have a second name?
Yes, everywhere.
My other yay, actually in between the Star Wars, I've been doing a lot more video gaming this year. Trying out new games that I wouldn't normally try. Lots of different things. But it's been really nice to do a lot more sort of cooperative gaming in the Minecraft servers that Jay keeps setting up. And then deleting. After everyone's put something nice, he deletes it. And then we have to start again. And then he's like, brilliant, and then deletes it again.
Well, I mean, it was an accident the last time. The other 2 times were on purpose.
Jay, it was an accident the last time. The other 2 times were on purpose. Key.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But it's that's another thing where you can be really collaborative, and it sort of slots in very nicely with RPGs and things, because sometimes you can use them for maps and that. But it's always cool to see what people have built. So you log on and it's not the same as it was before because someone else has been on and made something new, and it's pretty cool to see.
You know what I would say about those previous servers that died? All cats died.
And Minecraft servers.
Agree.
The people who brought you
Cats are
Inside Chat
servers.
podcast. All cats die. Unnecessary.
It's a
is what we
metaphor
said.
that translates perfectly to all
What is a
things.
cat if not a Minecraft?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed playing Minecraft with people this year and last year. I mean, getting in there and starting from, nothing and building up over time and getting to learn all the automation systems and stuff like that and building that up so that, the game kind of plays itself at some point. All of that I find really interesting. And, yeah, it's just a great way to go in after a difficult week and just have a good time guaranteed and just wash all that stress off. And it's good to have multiple hobbies because sometimes you get burnt out on one and you want to switch to the other for a bit.
For sure, for sure. And the other thing I like about it is like where we've got the voice channel and you'll hop in while you're playing and other people come and play and you can just chat to everyone. Yeah. And I've been talking to people in the server that I wouldn't normally talk to. Mm-hmm. Or they don't normally have much to say in written form, but on Minecraft you get them chatting about stuff. So that's really nice to just kick back and have a bit of human connection.
That's really lovely.
It's really nice to have the sense of community. Yeah, for sure. Just being able to hang out and voice chat. And people will pop in, they don't even play the game. They're just like, hey, I saw you hanging out in here. How can we let's talk for a bit. It's like, all right.
Yeah, it's nice. It is nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a testament to the ICP community that still exists despite the fact that apparently we haven't been putting out podcasts for the better part of a year.
I'm sorry.
That Jay was
News
like,
to me.
He had a free night, and I had a free night, and he was like, I run a one shot if you can get people together. And I just added everyone. And we had a game together in like 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
It is good that like everyone's still sort of like playing games together and going, oh yeah, who's up for this and who's up for that after like the past couple of years. It's just nice to have that pool of people that you know you can go to and someone will be there to chat or to play
and
a game
everybody's got similar kind of like good intentions, I guess you could say. So you can really be sure that whenever you're going to hang out, it'll turn out all right. There's nobody in there who just fucks with us for no reason.
A real safe space.
Yeah, it's great.
So I've got two yays. Precisely
That's
two
the legally
yays.
allowed amount.
So I am allowed to drive and operate heavy machinery. So when I was but a lad, so when I was like 13 to 15, I did two things a lot. I played a lot of Magic the Gathering, and I played a lot of like AD&D 2E. And my AD&D 2E friends, much like I did, continued to age beyond the 13 to 15 time bracket. And
Need to keep bringing it up. All cats die.
all cats died, but not yet.
I don't like
It's
it.
the title of the episode, so get used to it.
So this episode can be titled, We're Not Dead Cats Yet.
Yeah.
So it's been like almost a quarter of a century since we last played, and we've started playing up a Call of Cthulhu game.
That is so cool to me. Like I cannot ever fathom something like that. That's so awesome.
I know it's not a special, unique experience, but it is
awesome.
a robust one. I also really like cosmic horror, and I have really tired of the source material. So it's fun to be able to kind of go in long form and create your own way of having your mind rent apart across several dimensions.
Yeah, sure.
And it's been like it's funny because when we were playing back in the 90s or whatever, we had a lot of common ground, and in some cases we do now as well.
Yeah.
But it's all more boring common ground.
I too have procreated.
Listen, if no one's gonna rend these minds, we'll do it ourselves.
My back also hurts when I wake up.
Embers, are you mastering this game or are you playing?
I'm not mastering this game. I am possibly I'm the more experienced player in the player group. So we have one person with us who we were friends with at this time, but who did not really participate a lot in role-playing games, and he's just coming to it now, which is something I never pass up if I can help it, is to be able to play with someone who's playing maybe for the first time or the first time in forever. And it's been great. If you know the C team, he embodies the Ryan Hartman aesthetic of just kind of being all id and occasionally spacing out and kind of come back in and going, can I have a recap? And so we've all mastered our some 1920s radio announcer voices, and it's been great.
Transatlantic all the way.
23 get out.
Last time on Call.
What class are there classes in this game? Can you tell us a little bit about your player character?
Yeah, my player is heavily self-reference or self-insert. So he's an assistant professor of chemistry at a New England university, He is incredibly sheltered and useless, except for being a master of the library and being pretty good at Latin and biology. So, in Call of Cthulhu, this is a game where that is almost a player build. So that's this character. He desperately wants tenure. He's out trying to understand the arcane and bizarre aspects of nature that have not been documented into popular science, and he's doing a good job in that regard.
Right? I love it.
Doing his
I think
best.
I have maybe 23 sanity points left, so we're getting there.
Out of 100?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
You're doing great.
My other yay is a PAX yay. I did not go to PAX U, but for a moment I felt as if I was there because I was an early bidder on a poster made by Laura from work,
Sure.
which has been all over Twitter. So I don't know if you need me to describe it, but it is in some...
We should describe it just in case, because there's some of our audience members, Yari, who don't really keep up with cultural references.
I'm also not on Twitter anymore as a personal choice.
Yeah.
Very good. It's been a good choice this week in particular. So the poster says, "Stand here," and there's a little bit of a graphic and an arrow. "Stand here if you never want to hear about NFTs again for the rest of your mortal life."
Yeah.
People can talk about NFTs as much as they want, but not to you and not here. Your soul will pass
the final
unencumbered.
Line, others may bind their souls to the blockchain, but yours will be a soul unbound, which is just chef's kiss. So it became a bit of a meme as people obviously understood the sentiment of like not wanting NFT bros to yammer about NFTs at them
Or exist.
or exist. Listen,
Stop existing.
no, listen.
All NFTs die, though.
No,
Be like the cats.
get another hobby. Take up carpentry.
It went on auction, and then
So let me tell you why, though.
Yeah.
So everyone said, "This is great, share with your friends." And invariably, that gets shared with someone who's going to come back and ask Laura, "Hey, is this available on blah, 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 some sort of blockchain mumbo jumbo?" And Laura rightfully said, "Not today, not my poster." So Laura said, "I will auction this off for Child's Play. The opening bid is $420.69. If the bidding gets to
Nice.
$4,269, I think, I will, of course, sign it and give the exclusive one-of-a-kind to the winning bidder buyer. I will also make the design public domain." They reached that in less than 10 hours. And you don't often, and I will say I don't know for sure what the final sale price of this thing was.
It was around 40,000.
So it's rare and I've made posters before, I've made marketing material before. I am a tiny speck of dust in the shadow of the quality of work that Laura does. But you rarely sell a poster for $40,000 in charitable donations to Child's Play.
Yeah, that is definitely a combination of charity and the zeitgeist,
Which is ridiculous
like
because
capturing the zeitgeist.
the actual best poster she made there was one that it's just a picture of a person holding a dove. And it's like, and the text is just something like, "You have to stop doing bird crimes."
I remember that one.
It's a good reminder for me.
It's a good reminder for my birds.
Especially a bird.
I mean, charity and pissing off NFT bros. What more could you want from a yay?
For me, that's the bee's knees.
Yeah. Folks, I think we did 12 yays.
We did. I ticked them all off.
But what if we just kept talking?
I would also say, if nothing else, I think we've touched on a couple times. I think I really have to give a yay to our little Discord group.
Oh, I thought you were about to give a yay to the concept of ending, the concept of termination.
You, the listener, yay for you.
Yay for you,
You
listener.
want to take it?
Listen,
keep
this
it-
is not the 14
keep
yays
it
of
in your
Christmas.
heart.
We legally
No,
we're now
we're
over
just
the
taking
limit.
these 12 and then just dispersing them.
Yeah.
I'd like to yay for how angry Jay gets when things go wrong.
Anyway, I want to say a very strong thank you to the people who listened to this podcast and who still tune in and are
Who have
listening now.
forgotten their
To
subscribe.
the silence.
I want to be. I want to say that I am very grateful for this community. That I mean, the podcast created a community that has endured long beyond it, and will continue to do so. And we'll probably get together every now and then. I don't see any reason why we'd stop. But it's always a pleasure and a delight to hang out with my good friends and
A
talk about
pleasure.
cat death and
Indeed.
other joys. I just want to say thank you to, of course, I mean, we have to say the classic thank yous. We have to thank Burnham, BERNUMMM, on Twitter for making our faces. Without you, we would not have these.
Just our faces. I was
would
just
be like
on
a
Stringer
cat.
Please, Laura from Work's Twitter. Her profile picture, also by Burn.
Made a bunch of the art for Penny Arcade's actual play for their Patreon.
Beautiful.
Very talented art. Also, we'd like to thank Vinswept for our intro. It may not be Never Stand Alone. I feel like I have to. use
Yes, you
everything.
do.
Basically half.
Hell yeah.
There's
I mean, if we're coming back to this thing and revisiting it, I can't introduce
Yeah.
a new intro now. That's
When you don't have an episode for like a year plus, you really got to go with continuity.
yeah, we can't. Yeah, we can't just like create a new intro.
Gotcha. Here's our new intro music by Montaigne.
So many changes.
I'm really thank you everybody for coming together. I mean, this is
As we do every week.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right?
as
Same
we
back
have
time,
done
same
for
back
every week.
channel.
Stop interrupting me, goddammit. No, I'm kidding. I love the interruptions.
Great.
You say that, so they will stop.
No, I love it.
I know it's kind of like it's a segue to the next thing, but we're just encouraging us to keep interrupting you.
And I think this is the part of the episode where we do, and this was, yeah, I think this is where we do that.
Q's and A's.
And
This
Was.
Tight.
Someone could just go, woo!
baby.
I try so hard. I didn't get very far.
And in the end, this was Insight Check.